ਵਾਤਾਵਰਣ ਅਤੇ ਜਲਵਾਯੂ ਪਰਿਵਰਤਨ ਦੇ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਸਟੀਵਨ ਗਿਲਬੋਰਟ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸੰਘੀ ਮਾਲਕੀਅਤ ਵਾਲੇ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਸਥਾਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੁਰੱਖਿਆ ਨੂੰ ਮਜ਼ਬੂਤ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਨਵੇਂ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਦੀ ਤਜਵੀਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਪੱਤਰਕਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ। ਬਿੱਲ C-23 ਫਸਟ ਨੇਸ਼ਨਜ਼ ਮੈਟਿਸ ਅਤੇ ਇਨੂਇਟ ਪ੍ਰਤੀਨਿਧਾਂ ਲਈ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਇਤਿਹਾਸਕ ਸਾਈਟਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਸਮਾਰਕ ਬੋਰਡ ਤੇ 3 ਨਵੇਂ ਅਹੁਦੇ ਵੀ ਬਣਾਏਗਾ।
I would like to first acknowledge with respect that we are gathered on the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe peoples. During the month of June, we commemorate National Indigenous History Month. We take the time to recognize the rich history, heritage, resilience, and diversity of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples across Canada. This year, I'm happy to say we are taking it one step further. Today's tabling of Bill C-23, the Historic Places of Canada Act, is an important step in advancing the government's commitment to recognise Indigenous history and to implement the calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada. Specifically, Bill 23 makes real, concrete progress on Call to Action 79. Bill C-23 expands the membership of the Historic Sites and Monuments Board to include representation for First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. These representatives would be appointed following consultation with national Indigenous organizations. Additionally, the work of the board will be informed by Indigenous knowledge considered on an equal footing with other sources of information, for their ongoing work and passion on this issue. This bill follows in the footstep of Bill C-374, tabled by John in 2018. This will be the first legislation of its kind in Canada and will result in a stronger voice for Indigenous peoples in determining the people, places, and events that are of national historic significance in Canada. This legislation also builds on the Government of Canada's work with Indigenous peoples as full partners in creation of national parks and national marine conservation areas. When it comes to the designation of historic sites, we need the participation of Indigenous partners from the outset. In addition, the proposed legislation also provides transparent, sustainable, and inclusive direction for federally owned historic places in Canada. The Government of Canada administers over 300 historic places in the country, from buildings to archaeological sites and more. This legislation would ensure, for the first time ever, that they are all protected by legislation, and any changes to these sites would require that Parks Canada be consulted in order to preserve their heritage value. We need this bill because right now we lack the proper framework in Canada to be able to make in a transparent and durable manner the decisions on historic sites. So first thing we need is the framework. And the second part of your question, in fact, that work has already started. Parks Canada is already working with Indigenous communities across the country to adapt some historical sites, to add some elements about the history, culture of Indigenous peoples in this country.